y'all don't know what being broke
The
means.
win.
Take a breaking down, no protein.
And-
Take a see some other things that I seen.
and
You
you
tasting salt like creatine.
say-
Told me to stop.
Can I keep it real about how I feel? I know this love ain't real, but I want you still. Working out and never will. Let's just keep it real.
Yo, what's going on? It's Will Williams. Welcome to the second episode of Keeping It Real. So, we're going to jump right into it. Basically, on this podcast, like I said previously, and the promos that was dropping, we just keeping it real. So, I'm not going to use profanity, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to keep it real, keep it raw, keep it fresh, keep it true. You feel me? So, sex before marriage. I know a lot of people say, oh, that's old-fashioned, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's doing it nowadays. Don't be a follower. So, I'm going to break it down why you shouldn't have sex unless you're married. And don't marry somebody just to have sex, because if it ain't no love there, you're wasting your time. So, a lot of times in schools we're taught that, oh, if you have sex, protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Kids all know about you can catch diseases, you can get somebody pregnant. But it's deeper than that. I'm the type of person that's like, why did God say this? You know what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily questioning God, but it's like, got to be a deeper meaning than you can get somebody pregnant or catch a disease. And it is. It's an emotional thing. So, I can speak for myself. You could have sex with somebody and you don't care about them per se, but there's an emotional connection there. So a lot of times they say women use sex as love, view sex as love, and men use love as sex. I don't know if I said that right. Basically, a male would say, oh, I love you because I had sex with you, and a woman would say, oh, he loves me because we're having sex. But love is not sex, because it was a situation where a girl I was with, something happened to her, and she was like, oh, we can never have sex, blah, 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 you won't love me, this and that. But I was like, yo, it ain't about that. You know what I'm saying? We'll figure it out, we'll work it out, boom, if it got to that point. But you're supposed to love somebody, because sex, you know, what if they get in a car accident or something happens where they can't have sex anymore, what, you gonna stop loving them, stop wanting to be with them because of that? Sex is not important or the end of the world. Anyway, sex will have you doing stupid things. You know, you'll be having sex with somebody and they'll say something, oh, this is yours, or I'm yours, and, you know, in the midst of it or something, just probably don't mean it, just talking. Now, psychologically, in your mind, you thinking that you belong to this person, that person belongs to you. But the truth is, unless you're married to the person, you made a covenant before God, before the church, your family, the person you marry, future spouse, you don't belong to nobody. Now, that don't mean you can just freely have sex, because you're going to mess up your mind mentally. You know what I'm saying? You can be like, okay, I'm married to this person, I love this person, I'm having sex with this person. But after the butterflies were off when y'all first have sex, you know, after y'all got married, I don't know how long, maybe a year or two, I don't know, everybody different. Then you gonna be like, man, I remember I was with this person or that person. And then you start comparing the two, and then you start being like, man, why she can't do this or why he can't do that from a woman's perspective. And you know what I'm saying, it just causes a lot of trouble, because then you're getting an argument and you be trying to compare this person, like, man, I should have been with this person, that person. But like I said, always seek God. Don't have sex before marriage. It's an emotional thing that's gonna mess you up emotionally. It's gonna make you feel guilty. It's gonna make you, you know, feel disconnected from God, your family, feel like you're doing something wrong. And I mean, it is wrong, but you see what I'm saying? It's gonna make you, it's just unnecessary to go down that path if you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? In saying all that, do I regret being in those situations? Do I regret anything, you know, in general? I would say no, because everything that I've been through in my life got me to this point. My first album, Foreigner, that I came out with, I wrote that way back in 2015, but didn't come out with it until 2000 and I should remember this day, it's a shame. I think 2018, 2019. So I rewrote the whole thing because different experiences happened. I had broke up with this girl that I was close to marrying. The one I was talking about on the song 24. You know, I was at Jared, this jewelry store, and you know, it shut down, and I was gonna get the ring next week, and we broke up and everything. That's what really, you know, messed my heart up, my mind, and everything. But anyway, I don't regret none of that. You know, a lot of people say, if you could rewind and go back to talk to your younger self, what would you say? I would just hug my younger self, say, I love you, stay focused on God. You're going to go through a lot more than you even anticipate or realize. But in the end, it's going to make you stronger. You're going to get to where you need to go. A lot of times when we in our tests or in our trials or in things that's going on, we start to feel like it's hopeless and we start to give up. But look back, I mean, just think about something that you've been through. Whether it be something simple. Think about when you was in high school and you was like, man, I don't know if I can pass this test, and you passed the test or something. You feel me? So never look at the now, look at the future. Like, okay, as long as I know I'm doing everything right, as long as I seek God, as long as I'm, you know what I'm saying, doing the best that I can do, then I'm going to look back on this one day and be like, okay, I had to go do this to make me stronger. Even with, you know what I'm saying, people that get divorces and everything, don't look back and say, oh, I regret this, regret that, because you might have got a kid out of it. You regret your kid. You may regret who you had your kid with, but don't regret the kid. But even then, you know what I'm saying, like, I'll give you a little quick example about regret. So I knew this person, they got married, and they had kids, and they regret having kids with this person. So they was trying to seek out and find somebody else, and then, you know, they had another kid with the person. So, you know, they coming up to me complaining this and that, coming up to everybody complaining, and I'm telling people like, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with that, that's on them, you feel me? Because had you not let the lust and let your body or your mind control you, instead of you controlling your mind and your body, you wouldn't be in this situation. So sometimes we gotta go through things the hard way to learn. But then at the same time, just like this podcast, keep it real. Everything that I've been through, I write it down in music, put it back in songs and everything. So I gotta go through those things for my kids, for my siblings, for my family, people I ain't even met in my family, for people watching this podcast all over the world. You know what I'm saying? So if I could say one thing that's gonna help you out, then, you know, I feel like I did my job. This brings me to my next point. What is my overall goal with this podcast? My podcast is not to be, my goal is not to get rich and famous, be some famous YouTuber or podcaster, got my own TV show on TV, or be sponsored by people, or, you know what I'm saying, people find my music and I'm rich and famous and all this and that. Yeah, all that'll be nice. But if I'm not glorifying God, if I'm not helping somebody, then I can't stand before God on Judgment Day and say, oh God, I did all I could do. No, you did all you wanted to do. And it comes back to the music that I make. At one time it was so hard because I tried to make that hit. You know what I'm saying? Tried to make that song that the beat was slapping and, you know, everybody was like in the flow, the lyrics, the hooks, trying to make a dope video. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do the best that you can do. And that's the goal of this podcast, of keeping it real, or keep it real for short. Not to tell people what to do, but to be like, look, I mean, it's just like parents. You know, if you have kids, you don't want your kid to do the same thing you do. Don't pray that your kid doesn't do what you do. Show them what happened because of what you did. Just go back to the thing about the sex before marriage. You know what I'm saying? It's more than just a disease, and having kids is more of an emotional thing, and it'll disconnect you from God because now you connected to that person. So, the Bible, well, I'm paraphrasing as usual, but the Bible says God is a jealous God. So if you put anything before him, he gonna make it fall. So if you put your kids before him, he gonna make something happen to your kids. not necessarily like that, but it's just like growing up, you know, I had family members and people used to mess with them. So, you know, they would go flatten this person's tire or bust their window out or this and that. And then now I was like, man, well, why you do that for? And it was like, cause they got too much time on their hands. So now they got something to worry about, like who did this and who did that. So basically, I say all that to say, focus on God, whatever you do. And that's the goal of this podcast, to bring people closer to God. And you can call me a hypocrite based upon my past, but then, you know, Bible also says when a woman was caught in adultery, when they was trying to stone her to death, Jesus said, "You without sin cast the first stone," and couldn't nobody do it because, you know, everybody's sin, you know. So just stay focused and don't judge nobody based upon their past. Just see what they talking about, you feel me? Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. So, you know what I'm saying? Don't follow me. I'm not trying to get a following. I'm just trying to say, hey, this is what I've been through. I feel like I got a million stories and I just want to help other people out, you know? And another one of my goals is to teach people about faith. Now, let me tell you what faith is. Faith is doing something before you even see the ending. You know, I was moving some years ago because the place I was staying in, the rent was going up and it was too high. And I didn't have the money to be able to move somewhere else. But, you know, I was at work and I was asking people for boxes and I was packing everything up and having it sitting in the living room. And I was going out looking at, you know, places to stay and everything. And when the time came right, everything fell into place because God saw that faith, like, you know what? I'm going to make something happen because he got the faith in me and faith that something's going to happen. So, a little story about faith. God told me, man, I don't know how many years ago, so when my first album came out, Foreigner, I had made physical copies of, you know, the CD. Got a few. I'm gonna let if y'all want one, shoot an email, social media, whatever. Anyway, so I had like a bunch of them left. You know, I got like, I think 100 of them made. Excuse me, 150, something like that. But anyway, had a bunch of them left. So I had a contract with Ventures Vinyl in St. Louis, which is just like a independent record store. Had a contract with them to sell Foreigner. Well, they was messing around. I was not getting paid correctly, so I just took it out the store. I said, forget it. So anyway, God told me to mail them out, like hand them out to people. So I was like, God, I don't know. That don't make no sense. This can't be from God, you know. I don't, you know, this God can't be telling me this. This don't make no sense. But it's something about God to tell you something so crazy that you do it, it'll work. So what I did, I went online, found a bunch of people's addresses, and I mean all over the country, and I wrote them all down. Got a bunch of envelopes, bubble wrap, you know, the bubble wrap inside envelopes. Put a CD in there, prayed what to say on this little, like it's like a welcome letter. Had that in there, had the CDs in there, and the return address. So let me tell you how I know this was from God. I prayed to God, give me, you know, what to do. I always pray, you know, when you're trying to do something, if you get confused. So let's just say I mail it to somebody and the address doesn't exist, or nobody stays there, or they don't accept the package. So normally, if I put my own return address on there, I didn't want to get into trouble and be like, oh, you sent 50 this, blah, 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 you spamming people. I didn't know if you get in trouble. I don't know. So I didn't want to do that. So what I did, I didn't want to put no return address and just goes in the trash. So my return addresses was other addresses, record labels across the country, local churches across the country, record stores and everything. So if it doesn't get there, then it's going to get somewhere else. So I was just, the welcome letter, it was basically like, just listen to my music, blah, blah, blah. So I think I had like 20 or 30 envelopes, bought a bunch of stamps, bunch of tape, taped it up, went around different places, dropped them off in, post office, drop boxes and everything. I never actually heard back from anybody, but I got faith that it reached the right people, and my message was getting out there. My message is keep God first and never forget about Him when you get to where He places you in life, or where where you go. So basically, have faith. What's faith? Faith is believing in something you can't see. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe He died for my sins. I believe He rose again. I believe in Adam and Eve. I believe in Samson. I believe in David and Goliath. I believe in everything. You feel me? Just because it doesn't make no sense nowadays. A lot of stuff don't make no sense that's going on that you wouldn't believe in. But just have faith. I ain't never seen God physically. I ain't never seen Jesus visually. I will one day, but I haven't seen Him now. But does that mean I'm not supposed to believe in Him just because? Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm just telling you, you know what I'm saying? God is real. Jesus exists. Everything in the Bible is happening. Revelations, everything's happening now. So check it out. Thank y'all for tuning in to the second episode of Keep It Real with Will Williams. As usual, y'all can hit me up on social media. You can hit my label, Disciple Music Group, up on social media as well. Any business inquiries or beat submissions or collaborations you want, whatever, just send it to that email. Like I said, if y'all just want to talk, hit me up. If y'all want somebody to pray for you, ideas on the church home or anything, man, I'm not going to advertise for nobody, you know what I'm saying, but let God lead you, keep it real. We just keep going, man. Tune in to the next episode. We're going to go deeper into discussions on faith, music, life in general, man. So this is Will Williams.
Can I keep it real about how I feel? I know this love ain't real.